Hello, Sue.
Hello, Christine. Here we are
I
again. What
I
are we
know.
doing today?
Well, I was thinking because it is ANZAC Day,
Yes,
and ANZAC is about your legacy.
it is. You're right.
So, what is our legacy? What are we leaving? What does it mean to have a legacy?
It's interesting. That brings up some real sort of deep stuff for me.
Mm.
We've both been on such a big journey. I'm really starting to, I used to think a legacy was one thing, and now I'm starting to learn it's something totally different.
Mm.
Um,
It's not about finances that you're leaving behind. So
no.
for me, it's about what are the memories I'm leaving behind? What are the gifts I have passed on to those who are nearest and dearest and shared with others? What is that I am leaving behind? And it made me think about legacy because of these amazing, brave young men who gave up their lives so that we could have this freedom that we take for granted. Just take it for granted, and we don't know the pain and toil that they gave up so that we could live this life. And that's their legacy. Their legacy was giving us our freedom that we just so freely throw away and don't give it any credence. And they died for us. And so what am I leaving to my granddaughter and my daughters and son? What is the legacy I'm leaving? What am I teaching them?
Yeah.
And I've got the C in my background today because for me, fitness or going out there, I'm not the fittest of people, but I have
pre-thought about this. That's not fair.
No, I didn't actually.
You did. Why have you got the sea in the background?
Because I'd just been for the dip in the sea, and it just came to me because I have my friend Laura, who is what I call my swimming accountability partner, and she messaged me saying, "Are we going to go for a dip in the sea?" And I went, "Yeah, it's nice." And I want to go for the dip in the sea. Like me, I like to go for my dip in the sea. So when I was waiting for you, I literally thought, well, I've been for my dip in the sea, so I'm going to have the sea behind me because I've just been in it. That was why. It wasn't premeditated.
I'm just winding you up, just like we do.
Get you a big wooden spoon.
Just wooden spoon. It's interesting that you've pulled this out of the bag, because the reason why you were waiting for me is actually my whole day has been about ANZAC Day, and you've actually pointed to a point that, so I work in a place at the moment, and my boss has come home from being a commander of a very big peacekeeping place in the Sinai, and he had two speeches today, and both of them actually covered off at exactly what you've said. These people went overseas to give us the freedom to do what we do, and even said about choosing who we marry. That's huge. So I've spent my whole day around the ANZAC stuff, which was not planned, but I've enjoyed every moment of it. And just hearing the stories of those people that gave their life for us to have the freedom that we have. And you're right, absolutely spot on. People take it for granted. There's a certain amount of entitlement that is going on, that they just have this right to have this freedom. It was fought for. People gave their lives for us to be able to live how we do.
And it's interesting, it's with you saying that, I'm thinking, what would I put my life on the line for?
my children, my
Yeah.
mother, my sister, my family,
And that's
my
what they were
friends.
doing.
Exactly what they were doing. The
you
future
know.
generations that are coming. I mean, that was also this beautiful lady that I had a conversation with, and I didn't even bring it up. She did. And she was even saying that she was concerned. Her baby is 5 months old, and she's concerned of what the world is and what that child is going to deal with, and what is the future going to look like because of the direction in which we're going. Like you say, everyone takes this freedom for granted. I would have hoped that the big COVID, whatever it's called, that thing could have taught, I hope it's taught a whole pile of people something about living now. But instead, but just not just about living now. It's about living with love, or coming from love, not coming from fear.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to get into the politics.
No,
That's
no.
not why I brought that up. But you know, it's about love and fear and how we treat each other. And I would love for you, actually, I don't know why this just popped into my head, for you to share about that post that came into your head the other day about
that was channeled through me.
Yeah, that was channeled through you about why do we hurt each other or other people, because we're actually hurting ourselves.
Yes.
I thought that honestly, when I read that, I sort of actually wept, because I could feel. I know I learned judgment throughout my life, and I was judging other people. But then I've learned, actually, by doing that, I was totally judging myself.
And it was so interesting, because I'd listened to this sort of like meditation thing, which wasn't long. And it came over very strongly that I needed to write this.
Wow.
And it wasn't something that I'd been premeditated thinking about, or even knew what was going to come out next.
Wow.
If I can find it, I can read it out. I just don't know.
Yeah, too. I think it's very valuable, and I think that it's definitely worth sharing. And by the way, while you're finding that, I apologize. I know the lighting is
there it is.
Because I did this in a hurry, because I've been out doing the ANZAC thing, and we've got time today, so I just wanted to apologize. I'm looking very hazy.
No, it's all right. I'm sure it looked like a lot more when I wrote it, but it looks quite small when on the post.
Yeah, but it's no.
But anyway, what it says it's, why do we find it so easy to be cruel to ourselves and others, pull ourselves to pieces, criticize, and so much more? Is this what they meant by sin? Sin being harmful, hurtful, cruel. Why do we sin against ourselves? Bring in forgiveness, love, and joy. Celebrate what you perceive as your sin. I do not mean do harm unto others, for in reality, the harm one does to others is actually the harm one wishes to do to self. For as we harm others, we are harming aspects of ourselves. For what we see in them is what we know about ourselves. So I ask you to stop harming yourself and thus harming others, or you may see it as stopping harming those outside of ourselves, external, and therefore we stop harming ourselves, internal.
And see, what I'd like to say to you there is, it doesn't matter how long or short it is, it's the impact and the wisdom that comes with the words. And those words were just so wise for me, because it's been something that I've been thinking about and growing and self-love and like I said, about judging, and so that was just spot on for me. And we've talked about outer world follows inner world, but this is almost turning that back around to go, wow, I'm acting this way because I want to hurt myself. And I hadn't thought about it. Well, I sort of had. I knew that my outer world, I was so angry and antagonistic because outside, because I was that way inside. But I'd never thought about it from a point of view of wanting to treat myself that way and be hurt that way, which is what I took from what you said, which is really, really deep.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
and I don't know where this
wow.
come from. That's why I say it was a channel.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it
And
doesn't matter
was-
where it came
no,
from.
and it was channeled through for me to write and put it out there for to share with others. And it's not for me to know. It's the lesson was for me as well. And as I am reacting to people outside of me, that's a reaction that is going on within me. And is this whole thing, and it sounds so deep, and we hear these lessons over and over again in different books, in different themes, from all the different gurus, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever, you know, they all say the same thing. And it's sort of like, this is what we're doing. And if we go back to what is our legacy, what are we doing to ourselves? Therefore teaching our little ones of how to be to them. That is our legacy. Our legacy is how to show them unconditional love in a beautiful and amazing way, that they can then feel that love that's so strong within them, that they don't take on this harm. It's like, you know, both of us, we haven't felt heard.
No.
So, you know, is our legacy to make sure that we take the time that our little ones, the people we come into contact, feel heard and seen.
Yeah. And understood. Because if you truly hear someone and take the time to listen and have the conversation, then hopefully that person will feel understood. It's all about time, and just taking that quality time to actually sit and be with somebody. And that, to be fair, I have to put my hand up. I was never good at listening.
I was going to ask you that question. What is the interpretation of listening? What does it mean to really listen?
Yeah, and you know, I think I've only actually I've only conquered half of that equation. For me, it's actually slowing down, intently hearing or listening to what the person's saying. But the hearing part of it is in taking it on board, interpreting it, and then trying to actually understand what they're trying to say. So, and that's that part of I mean, I heard it all the time in the government departments, paraphrase back to what you've heard, but I could never ever do that. So I couldn't understand the importance of it. Now I do, because you can hear somebody and don't give a damn, but you can hear somebody and try to understand what they're trying to say, and by paraphrasing it back, you've taken the time to hear them and understand them, and then they get feedback to hear, yeah, actually, no, you're spot on, or whatever. But it's that conscious state to actually care enough to actually want to understand what they're trying to actually tell you,
and also
not fix.
Yeah, and for me, it's quietening my mind so that I can truly hear the words that you're saying and focus on what you are saying. For me, not to be thinking about how I wish to respond
Or
and
fix.
That's been difficult, a thing, because I learned having a conversation was all about what I was going to say next, not actually 100% focusing on the words that person is saying. And it doesn't matter what my opinions and thoughts are, as long as I'm focusing on what you are saying, then when there's space and I've been able to digest mentally the words that you've said, then maybe I can respond. But that shouldn't be the thought pattern that was ticking away, which used to be what was going in my head. Oh, they're saying this. Where can I relate to what they're saying, and not actually listening to what the person was saying.
And you know what I think, because I've been through a similar journey, right? I would have already, my mind used to work so fast that I would have already have computed what you half had said, and I would have had about 10 different responses as to what you were going to say, or what my fixing, or what I was going to say already. That's where my mind was going, right? So I agree with you. I've totally been on that path of slowing down this left brain shit, right? It slowed it right down to actually want to hear what you're saying. Like, truly, no, listen to what you're saying. It's valuable because you're a human being and you're here on a special journey, whatever that is, and you're valuable. So why wouldn't I actually want to listen about it? Listen to you and take away the desire to be so important because of my past, to be fixing or doing whatever. It's really interesting.
With you saying that, it suddenly made me think about in the lessons that we learned in EMF.
Yeah.
About raising the significance of others.
Yes.
And raising the significance of others is about truly being present and listening with that calmness of mind so that you can hear. Because it made me think about sometimes when I've been in a conversation previously and my mind was like you're saying, going 10 to the dozen. They were saying this information and I wasn't waiting for the end part. So I was jumping in and they were sort of like, I haven't got to the end part. That isn't where I was going. My mind was going in one direction, but they were just setting the scene for me. And I was in an assumption space of where it was going to go. And they were going, huh? No, isn't where I was going. I was going a completely different way.
Or I'd be in there going, will you hurry up? You're taking too long.
Get to the point.
But I'm the worst one of telling a story. It's like funny. Yeah.
So I suppose if we're talking about going back to legacy, I suppose one of the greatest gifts I could have is to be really present and listen.
Well, I've been doing that with my two boys, and because I know my eldest Sam, he's very much like me, and I could see where he was going, and I was trying to fix it and do exactly what we're talking about. So my legacy is I've actually stopped doing that now. He knows. Well, I hope he does. If you watch this, Sam, I unconditionally love you. It's your journey. I'll be there to help you if you need help, but I've stopped fixing it. I've stopped trying to preempt where he's going to go. What he's, because it's so similar to my journey, right? Not saying he's me, because he's his own, person in his own right, and he's got his own beautifulness and own value. And I finally get that. But back, I didn't. Like, all I could see was this journey, and I wanted to save him from going through the same heartache or shit that I did. So that's my legacy, is just turning up, trusting and being the example and listening and just be supportive for him. It's like, and I love our relationship. Both of my boys now and my mum, because I've stopped doing all of that stuff, it's just blossomed. And it's so beautiful.
It's just about stopping, isn't it?
And I think one of my legacies would hope that I can help people to find out what their own journey is and to help them to make some change. And that's what EMF is about for me, is we take people on a journey of exploration and some great tools. Some will fit, some won't fit, and you can I pick different tools out of my tool belt all the time, and I've got to come up with a different analogy, but it works right now, right? But it works. And if I can help as many people as I can to figure out they're on a journey, they can write their movie, they can move from to me to, you know, victim mode to by me to through me. It's all of that stuff. And one of the biggest things is to understand their value. Because I know both of us have been on that journey.
Oh God,
neither of us knew what our value was. No. And it's only been truly in the last 6 months to a year that I'm actually starting to listen and receive of what that value is. And I had someone today, it would have been a totally different meeting. She said to me, why didn't we do this earlier? And I, in my head, thought, because I couldn't have. You wouldn't have received the same person. I was in a totally different space. But since then, I've grown my value within me and understand me so much more that I can show up, be the example and the invitation, and that's part of my legacy.
Yeah.
It's not a house. It's not money. It's love over fear. Every time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just checking the time because
we are on a limited time frame, thanks to me doing the ANZAC thing.
No, that's fine. And it's I know, and I will also go back to my swimming accountability partner with us. Yeah. Because this for me is so important. We have been accountability partners for each other. Yeah. In this journey. And I think that is why we've been able to have the growth that we've had. And this is the importance for us as well. We are coaches, we're facilitators. Yes. We take people through this journey. We hold people accountable and we hold each other accountable. And you make greater shifts for yourself, within yourself, when you've got someone who goes like you did to me at times, story, or I've said to you, story, or
I just said that to someone today. It's like I started it, and then I was like, and then you started going to me, story, and I was like, damn it, she's so right. Oh, thank you, Christine. I love you. You're amazing, and you're right on. And it's made me shift gears.
Yeah, it's having that person to go. No, come on, pull your socks up. You can do this, and actually support you and see your value. Because when we're in that space of not valuing ourselves, we will, like we know, questions of the steering wheel of the mind. Yeah. And we'll ask the questions, oh, I messed up there. So of course, the mind will find reasons why you messed up. Whereas we're learning that we go, oh, that was a great learning experience. What have I learned from that instead? Yeah. Whereas previously, go back a year, it would have been, oh God, I made a mess of that. But we've held each other accountable because we've caught each other with the words that we've used, with the actions that we've followed through on, and stuff like that. So this is also going, it could go back to our legacy. We're leaving a legacy for each other to grow into being our best version of ourselves.
And you know what it comes back to as well is the 6 human needs: growth and contribution. Yeah. So by contributing to our relationship to each other, we're contributing, and within that we help each other to grow, but we're willing to grow. Yeah. And from that, then we gain growth, so then we contribute back to each other. So it's like the Taurus thing going, you know, we're feeding our souls and feeding each other. How beautiful is that?
And if anybody is confused by what the 6 human needs are, what the Taurus is, and other things like that, you'll have to keep watching. And
Exactly.
subscribe. The button below, whatever it is. Or sign up to an EMF. Sue's doing one in June. I'm doing one in June.
Yep.
We'd love to have you along.
Reach out and contact us, have a conversation. It can be both of us, either of us, because we support each other and we love each other. And we just like to, it is a short one today. You're probably going, phew. No, story. Susan, Helen, story. But no, we'd like to thank you for watching us today and taking the time to spend with us. And we love you and stay amazing. And Christine started this one, so finish it off.
Find your legacy. Find what you wish to leave and be true to it. And get an accountability partner.
Yay. We know some really good ones.
Yeah. The doofers. Bye.